bringing our mind, our mental capacity, our mindfulness back into the body is literally like bringing ourselves back home.
Welcome to the Home Comfort Zone podcast. I'm Theresa. I'm the marketing manager at All Comfort Services. Today, I have Zach Ketterhagen, who's a longtime yoga and meditation teacher, and he's located right here in the Madison area. Welcome, Zach.
Yeah, thank you, Theresa, for having me.
So tell us what you're doing in Madison.
Yeah, so I'm a transformational coach, and I help people through deep transitions, like help them heal through separation or divorce, addiction recovery, leaders stepping into a new phase of leadership. And my background is 20 years of yoga and meditation. That really is the foundation of my transformational coaching and helping people really step into their next evolution, step into their highest potential. And it's really helping them embody themselves, right? There's a lot of research coming out on nervous system health and just how the mind and body are completely interconnected with the breath, and helping people really embody some struggles that they have and really embody their next evolution through maybe a tough transition in their life.
That's great, and I've heard about mindfulness, and is that all related to that too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, mindfulness is the core of really what I do, and mindfulness is all about paying attention in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And so it's really about where we're paying attention and beginning to see things that we don't normally see, whether it's the silver lining of a transition, whether it's getting through a tough time and things like that.
So All Comfort Services, we do heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. So why do I have you here today? Well, we have homeowners that are listeners and businesses, and people call us because they need help with something, and a lot of times people are they don't know what's wrong, and they're just we triage all those calls like we're kind of like 911. Someone has a problem, and it's not all problems, but in the heating season, someone's furnace goes down. People are stressed. And so I thought it might be interesting to bring another topic about how do we bring this back to the home? Well, people are homeowners, and people go through experiences with their home. And making it practical, you have some practical tools that could help people. What are some of those things that every listener could use?
Sure. First, I mean, the mind is everything we do, right? It's our whole entire perspective. And so when we have a problem in the home, our mind jumps to, oh my gosh, how much is this going to cost? There's uncertainty, and it just goes on and on and on, right? Anxiety is a future emotion. We get kind of lost in the future. And so a really practical tip to enhance your mindfulness, to enhance relaxation, is to come back to the present moment. And a practical way to do that is to just focus your mind on your breathing. Every inhale and every exhale you take is literally the present moment, and they flow into one another. So I'd have your listeners just close their eyes, if they're not driving, close their eyes in a safe space and just practice for a few seconds. Focus on your inhale. And focus on your exhale, and you will come back to the present moment. And you direct the mind, you train the mind, and you bring it back so that it's not dealing with the focus of that we can't really control, the anxiety, the worry, the cost, what's happening, the uncertainty. And you see how, even I'm revving up talking about this. We get revved up. And so how do we unravel? We unravel really into ourselves, into the present moment. The inhale, every exhale we take really creates that cocoon of mindfulness.
And, I'm a homeowner, you're a homeowner. We've run into these things, and even what do you do when something stressful happens? What are some of the things you do, even though you help people with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, transformational coaches are living their human experience, and I definitely get stressed out too. And I've been studying and teaching breath and breath work for 18 years. It really is the foundation of my stress reduction practice, of my spiritual practice. And so just if I know I'm getting out of shape and feeling anxious and things like that, I will bring my mind to my breath. And specifically, bring your mind to your upper abdomen. where the breath is most noticeably physically felt. And so you can even take your hands on your abdomen and place them there, and you can see the abdomen moving. On inhale, it gets a little bigger. On exhale, it gets a little, it recoils, comes back to neutral. And that movement, bringing our mind, our mental capacity, our mindfulness back into the body, is literally like bringing ourselves back home. Right? Just like all comfort services helps out with your home, heating and cooling needs, we literally come back home, and our mind is like, whoa. Our mind, takes on this like, what is this? Like, I've been, worried and anxious and in the storm of our life, so to speak. And now you just bring it back to the breath, and it's like the mind gets a taste for it. And that's my practice and what I'd recommend. Just anyone can do it. You do not need to go to your yoga cave or your meditation cave and escape from your life. It really is something that you can do in seconds.
And so you've been doing this for folks in Madison?
Yeah, absolutely. And really helping my clients tap into the wisdom and power of their body through breath, through expressing our voice, through expressing our needs, boundaries, through movement, and then transformational coaching. So helping them understand and frame that this problem or this anxiety loop can be repatterned through reawakening a stable nervous system, mind-body connection. And that's, simply put, becoming more mindful of the present moment, maybe through breathing or other practices.
It sounds like it's something that could help everybody, all ages even.
It really is. And, it's been around for thousands of years, right?
We're born breathing, right?
That's right. That's right. So, in our modern kind of mindset, we've taken the breath for granted, but now that's becoming well known that the breath really is a tool that we have some control over. Thank God we will continue breathing when we don't pay attention to it. So there's some involuntary things going on. But the breath has so many thousands of references to how powerful it is. And the modern mind, aka you and me and your listeners, are waking up to, there might be something to this mindfulness stuff. Might be something to this breathing.
So, I think we'll do a little video outside of this video that people can, practice that they can do, a short little video. We'll have that recorded and people can tune into that. I think it would be helpful. So if someone feels their home is cluttered or stressful, what's one mindfulness-based step that they can take today?
Yeah, a lot of times, when things are cluttered, when the house is messy, it can easily lead to overwhelm. And so the mind gets overwhelmed, and really coming back, what's the one thing that you can do to chip away at that overwhelm? It could be, the dishes. It could be taking out the garbage. It could be calling all comfort services for a little help, and maybe some mindfulness tips. Maybe your electricians could give these folks some mindfulness tips. Just all jokes aside, we have to simplify our reality. We have to simplify our environment. Our mind thinks, I have to clean this whole house right now. I have to fix all my problems right now. And it's really, well, what's one thing I can do? And before that, maybe stepping into your breathing, bringing your awareness back to your physical breath, and then what's the one thing that I can do? So really simplifying the terrain.
So on the business side, many of our listeners own or manage a business. How can yoga or mindfulness practices benefit the teams in the workplace?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the teams in the workplace and our own selves really impacted by how we step into our leadership, right? Self-leadership, leadership on teams, leadership of our business. And so we as human beings take in so much information. It's more than what we talk, right? So you'll see a leader talking. They're talking wise, but we're really looking at what's the body language, what's his or her presence. And really, mindfulness helps at the core of how we present ourselves and how teams are given permission to present ourselves. And there's a lot of research on just burnout. How if we push our teams, if we push our businesses to the point of breaking, we will break. We won't like that result. It really is all about sustainability. So how could, mindfulness, I really think, is all about sustainability practices. And good leadership, great leadership, is all about sustainability practices. And so how can we create sustainable environments for our teams where there's less turnover. We all know how expensive turnover is.
Yeah, and so how does someone get started? It sounds like if you already know that, you've already been down this road, you've already done some research and used some of these practices as a leader. But what do you do if you don't even know where to begin?
So, maybe Einstein said, I don't know if I can credit him, but, if he had an hour, he'd spend 55 minutes on identifying the problem and then 5 minutes towards the solution. And that really is, for most folks, for most leaders, for most of your listeners, spending 55 minutes on problem identification would benefit. And so really how I handle that in my coaching is creating an environment where a client or your listeners can get to know themselves at a deeper level. When we know ourselves, when there's self-awareness, when there's self-knowledge, and self-awareness, mindfulness, right? When there's mindfulness about the deeper underpinnings about what motivates us and how we got into this issue and why are we so stressed out, it really begins to empower us. Through that empowerment of knowing ourselves at a deeper level, knowing the problem, we can then come up with really great solutions, sustainable solutions, mindful solutions that really help us deploy our business in smart ways and really help our teams.
So it's really, it's about somebody taking some responsibility, what they bring, and being mindful, overuse the word mindful, thinking about this, right? But it is about paying attention to what you bring to your team, identify the problems, spend time looking at those problems, find out what you bring, what you can bring. And it sounds like if you are more patient and mindful, patience probably another word.
Yeah.
That, that's helping the team.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And if we're talking about patience, I mean, society and our homes, we're running our homes at a breathtaking pace. We're running our businesses at a breathtaking pace. That is okay if we want to do that. But we can also run our businesses and our homes at a different speed. And so I just invite your listeners to, what speed, what rhythm are you running your business? What daily rhythm are you bringing? What weekly rhythm are you bringing? Monthly, quarterly, things like that. And we can revisit those rhythms because those rhythms are the building blocks of, patience, mindfulness, or burnout and lack of sustainability.
If someone listening wanted to dip their toe into mindfulness, what's a realistic first step that they can take this week?
This week, I mean, if your listeners want to do something at home, I would literally just pull up a mindfulness practice on YouTube. Folks could even listen to their breathing and just pause. A cup of coffee is a great idea, right? If you have a cup of coffee in the morning, that's wonderful. Sit with your cup of coffee. Maybe invite your listeners to turn off the TV. Not read and just take a deep breath. How are you doing? Have a moment for self-reflection. For your listeners, so that's a great idea to do at home, but for your listeners who have a little bit more time or want to dive deeper, I would just encourage, supporting your local community, checking out a yoga class. Checking out a yoga studio that you might have wanted to explore, or just connect with a friend that you might know is into mindfulness and chat. And I'm always here, and All Comfort Services is always here if you want to get more mindful in your home.
We've talked about mindfulness, breath, being aware that you need to breathe. It sounds so simple, but that's a great tool. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us about that? Just
one thing comes to mind that we were talking off camera just about how, in the 1980s, when we were talking mind, body, breath connection, it was considered, a little woo-woo, little ahead of its time. Now, I mean, I'm on All Comfort Services podcast talking about mind, body, breath connection, really mindfulness, right? And so I think that goes to just give yourself permission to, understand that we are the home of our mind, body, and breath is really here. Bringing ourselves home is all about mindfulness. Bringing your attention to your breath, to your body is really bringing yourself home. We've all had the experience of, maybe some of us have had the experience of in the storm of our home or in an actual storm driving the car. The storm of our home would be heater breaks down or AC breaks down. And it's like, and then we have all comfort services fix that great customer service, and then we're home again. We have that sense of relaxation. We have that sense of relief. We literally, we got that sigh in.
Right.
And it literally is, that's yoga. That is just these simple moments. We do not have to spend 2 hours a night on our yoga, on our breathing practice, going to a yoga studio. It's literally bringing the mind and breath back home. And we do that in our relationship with our husband and wife. We do that in our relationship with our kids, just coming home and being present with one another, being present with ourselves. And so anyone can do it. You just need a moment of time. And so I invite your listeners to think about that. It doesn't have to be, if your listeners have been putting off, well, I can't make it to a yoga class, so that's not for me. Okay, you don't have to make it to a yoga class. You can make it to every breath you take. Yep. Right?
I think you've tied it, I think you've brought it all together, this whole conversation about home as a metaphor. And that's really, that was my intention for this podcast, for this episode, and to bring you on, was to give listeners a few tools and to something practical to make life a little easier. And so, Zach, I want to invite people to check out your information if they want. How do they get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
The best place to learn more is my website, zachketterhagen.com, and there will be a link in the description, show notes. And so, zachketterhagen.com, and it always starts with a free discovery call. That's no charge, no cost consultation, because I really, I'm an impact leader, and I really want to serve the people in Madison that are drawn to my services and make sure it's a good fit.
Great. It's nice to know in Madison we have these resources.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Zach.